Good afternoon, second graders. It's read aloud time. Back to our one and only Ivan. Remember, it's April Fool's Day today. So send in those ideas of things that you've done or people have done to you for April Fool's Day. They're pretty funny and it's one of my favorite days. So bring me that joy today, okay? All right, so get comfy, get cozy, and get ready to listen to Ivan. A visit. It's almost morning when I hear steps. It's Mac. He has a sharp smell. He weaves as he walks. He weaves as he walks. Well, it makes me think that there's some movement going on. What does it mean to weave? Is weave a multiple meaning word? Does it mean different things depending on the way that we use it in a sentence? See if in your brain you can take the next 10 seconds and see if you can find different ways to use that word. Here we go. How many ways did you come up with? I came up with a couple. I can weave a basket. I can weave in and out of traffic. I think those are my two big ones. Maybe you came up with more. All right. He stands next to my domain. His eyes are red. He's staring out the window at the empty parking lot. Ivan, my man, he mumbles. Ivan! He presses his forehead against the glass. We've been through a lot together, my boy. A new beginning. We don't see Mac for 2 days. When he returns, he doesn't talk about Stella. Mac says he's anxious to teach Ruby some tricks. He says the billboard is bringing him in more visitors. He says it's time for a new beginning. All afternoon and into the evening, Mac works with Ruby. Ruby's feet are looped with rope so that she cannot run. A heavy chain hangs off her neck. Mac shows her Stella's ball, her pedestal, her stool. He introduces her to Snickers. When Ruby obeys Mac, he gives her a cube of sugar or a bit of dried apple. But when she doesn't, he yells and kicks at the sawdust. When George and Julia arrive, Mac is still training Ruby. Julia sits on the bench and watches him. She draws a little, but mostly she keeps her eyes on Ruby. Bob watches too. He's hiding in the corner of my domain under knot tag. It's raining outside, and Bob does not like damp feet. Ruby trudges behind Mac. Her head is drooping. I think of those 7 words in that sentence, and it tells me a lot about how Ruby is feeling. Listen again. Ruby trudges behind Mac. Her head is drooping. Think about how she's feeling in this part of the story. Use that text evidence in those words to help you come up with that meaning of how she's feeling. All right. Endlessly, they circle the ring. Sometimes Mac slaps her flank with his hand. Suddenly, Ruby jerks to a stop. Mac pulls the chain hard, but Ruby refuses to move. Come on, Ruby. Mac is almost pleading. What is your problem? She's exhausted, I say to myself. That's the problem. Mac groans. Idiot elephant. Stop. I want you to think about some of the character lessons that we've done and the behavior lessons that we've done and think about how he's dealing with this situation. Is he dealing with it, meaning Mac, is he dealing with it appropriately? Or could he do it differently? Think about some of the different skills and strategies we have. I'm coming up with different ways. I hope you are too. Idiot human, Bob mutters. Walk, Ruby, I say, although I know she's too far away to hear me. What? Do what he says. Walk, Mac commands. Now! Ruby doesn't walk. She plops her rump on the sawdust floor. I think she's maybe tired, Julia says. Mac wipes his forehead. Yeah, I know. We're all tired. He pushes Ruby with the heel of his boot. She ignores him. George looks over from the food court where he is wiping off the tables. Mac, he yells, maybe you should call it a day. I'll close up for you. Mac yanks on Ruby's chain. She's as anchored as a tree trunk. He pulls harder and falls to his knees. That does it, Mac says. He brushes the sawdust off his jeans. I'm through playing around. Max stomps off to his office. When he returns, he's carrying a long stick. The gleaming hook on its end is almost beautiful, like the silver of a moon. It's a claw stick. Mac pokes Ruby with the sharp point. Not hard, just a touch. I can tell he wants her to see how much it can hurt. I growl low in my throat. Ruby doesn't budge. She is a gray, unmoving boulder. She closes her eyes, and for a moment I wonder if she might have fallen asleep. I'm warning you, Max says. He breathes out. and stares at the ceiling. Ruby makes a gruffing sound. Fine, Max says. You want to play it that way? He draws back the claw stick. No, Julia cries. I'm not going to hurt her, Max says. I just want to get her attention. Bob snarls. Max swings. The hook slices the air just a few inches above Ruby's head. See why you don't want to mess with me, Max says. He draws back the claw stick again. Now move! Ruby jerks her head. You fling her trunk toward Mac. She makes a noise that sends the sawdust scattering. It makes my glass shiver. It is the most beautiful mad I have ever heard. Ruby's trunk slaps into Mac. I don't see exactly where she strikes him. Somehow below his stomach, I think. And I know he must be uncomfortable. Because Mac drops the claw stick and falls down on the ground and curls into a ball and howls like a baby. Direct hit, Bob says. Poor Mac. Mac groans. He stumbles to his feet and hobbles off toward his office. Ruby watches him leave. I can't read her expression. Is she afraid? Relieved? Proud? When Mac is gone, George and Julia lead Ruby from the ring. It's okay, baby. It's okay, Julia says, stroking Ruby's head. They settle Ruby in her domain and make sure she has fresh water and food. Before long, Ruby's dozing. Dad? Julia asks as George locks Ruby's iron door. Do you think Mac would ever hurt Ruby? I don't think so, Jules, George says. At least I hope not. Maybe we could call someone. George scratches his chin. I wish I could help Ruby, but I don't know how. I mean, who would I call? The elephant cops? Besides, George looks down. I need this job, Jules. We need this job. Your mom, the doctor bills. He kisses the top of Julia's head. Back to work. You and me both. Julia sighs and reaches for her backpack. She removes a piece of paper, a bottle of water, and a small metal box. Homework first, George says, wagging a finger. Then you can paint. It's for art class, Julia explains. We're doing watercolors. I'm going to paint Ruby. George smiles. All right, then. Just don't forget your spelling. Dad, Julia says again. Did you see Mac's face when Ruby hit him? George nods. Yes, he said solemnly. I did. He shakes his head. Poor Mac. He turns away, and only then do I hear him laughing. All right. That laughing, what do you think that means as he turns away? Is it nice? Is he being mean? Or is it kind of feeling like he had something coming toward him? Okay. Second graders, have a great afternoon. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.